Shawnee. Welcome back. Guess what time it is? It is time for our weekly roundup, where I go over all of the eyeshadow palettes I've used over the past week, and I rank them from least liked to most liked. Now, I have 7 slots today. I have one palette that makes an appearance twice. I have a brand that makes several appearances, and we just haven't done this in a while, right? So we're just gonna start doing it again now, hopefully. So, like I said, 7 slots, and I think we're just gonna go ahead and jump right in. At number 7, I have the Pat McGrath Quad Deep Space Divinity. Now, I think this one is like, it seems almost like a random color story, but they actually, the shades go well together. If you can see, there are like flecks of each shade in the other shade. So I just did this. I paired it with a very glossy red lip, and I really enjoyed it. Something really simple. The looks this week weren't too out there. Most, if not all of them, were for work. So this was super simple. I really like her quads. I think if you get overwhelmed with the motherships, the quads are great. I think that is true for basically every palette. If you get overwhelmed by the bigger ones, maybe you can try to get a smaller one, or when you look at the palette, maybe look at it in quads or in 3s or 2s, and that can just make it easier to come up with a look. But this was cute. I feel like it made my eyes bright, and yeah, there is that. Number 6. Another Pat McGrath. This time it is a mothership palette. It is the Bronze Seduction palette. Now, I think this palette is primarily known for this shade here, which is very pretty, and I often gravitate toward that shade as well, but I thought, let me do something else, because there are lots of other shades in this palette. So this was, again, something super simple. Probably, I think, like 2 or 3 shades. This was later in the week. I was working. I had my co-therapist with me, Rose. She was all in the business. She does not care about HIPAA compliance. Okay? And I like the look. I like that I got to spend time with Rose. One of us worked, one of us didn't. But yeah, I have just been on a roll with my Pat McGraths, honey. And that was number 6. Oh, my bad. Number 5, 2 palettes actually, both from Viseart. I combined this dark matte palette with Bohème Dream. So these are in the old packaging, the bulkier packaging, but I mean, I'm not going to switch them out for anything since there's so much product. But as you can see, this is an all matte palette, and this is an all shimmer palette. Basically, I looked through the shimmers and the mattes that I had, and I thought that these would complement each other pretty well. And I really like this. I took both of these to work. They made it well in my work tote bag, practically suitcase, and I just love grabbing one of their matte palettes and one of their shimmer palettes, or doing an all shimmer and all matte. I feel like I'm always really happy with whatever look I do with my Viseart palettes. What I will say is, I don't think, unless you are a makeup artist, I don't think you should buy these full price. Hell, even if you're a makeup artist, don't buy these full price. Wait for a sale, because these are expensive. Not as expensive as Pat McGrath, but what I can appreciate is I think these are so versatile. Like, how can you go wrong with these palettes? You get something, you get like everything, you know what I mean? And if you don't want to do these, again, they have like quads, their little Petit Four palettes. I think there are some that are 6, so you can always dabble in those, which are cheaper rather than going for these, but I do think that you will be happy if you have these. Number 4. Wait, 7, 6, 5, 4 is another Pat McGrath. So Pat McGrath is just all up and through this week. And this one is one of my favorite quads, Voyeuristic Vixen. I just really love the shimmers, and it's offset with this one matte. It reminds me of Charlotte Tilbury Fire Rose in terms of having 3 really nice mattes and then a deeper, 3 really nice shimmers and a deeper matte. I think all of the shimmers go well with the matte. I just really enjoyed this. I always enjoy when I use this palette. I think this is one of her best quads just because, I don't know, I just like the color story of it. I think it's very much one that you can jazz up or you can keep it pretty chill. And I do think it is office friendly because a lot of folks are going back into the office for various reasons that we're not going to talk about. Office friendly, and then you can amp it up a little bit and go to those after work drinks that we're all going to need. All right. So that is number 4. 3, 4. 4. Number 3 is a combination of palettes again. Now, I used a bit of the Natasha Denona Love palette just for some deeper shades. Actually, one deeper shade. I used that shade there, Commitment. And I paired that with the Cosmic Beauty The Lovers palette. Now, I think Jan and I are going to do a video about this palette. It's cute. It's real cute. Nothing special, okay? I think we all have these shades. I think I like purchased this and wasn't really thinking about it because I'm like, it's okay. I would say, I believe this is limited edition, but if it's not, don't get this one. Get one of their other palettes where I think you can have a bit more fun. But actually, as I'm looking at this, I like the layout. And is this a matte with a shimmer in it? Huh. So I haven't explored this palette as much as I will. Because I really just like to go through every shade when I get a palette. I don't think that you need this one. I don't like that it opens like this. I prefer the ones that open. You know what I mean? This is just so different, I think, from their regular packaging. And maybe that was the point, right? As I say, who am I? I don't have no brand. But yeah, I'm going to say if you are wanting to get something from Cosmic Beauty, I don't think this one is worth it. I think the other ones, pretty much all the other ones. But I want to say the more original, like the original ones they had before starting at Neutrals and Cool Trolls, I feel like those are just more like, now everybody's starting to learn about them. But the previous palettes like Muse, is it Royal Rose, Serenity, Winter Wonderland, even I think it's a 12 pan, Gothic, Delicious Delights. Like, those are some of my favorite palettes out of everything that I have. I just feel like as it's gone on, I'm like, cute, but not necessary. What is necessary? But like cute, but it doesn't zhuzh me up as much as the other ones did. And I paired it with the Natasha Denona Love just because I probably will not ever purchase another Natasha Denona palette because I don't like the newer formula and I don't think the color stories are really doing anything for me. So I'm just going to keep getting use out of the ones that I already have, the mid-sized ones, because those are the ones that I prefer. So I'm going to use them until I can't use them no more. And at number 2 and number 1 is the same palette. And you won't be surprised. You won't. Because, say what it is. I'll give you a second. Type it down there. Type it down there. Danessa Myricks Groundwork Defining Neutrals. Hello! Okay? This palette, This has been my, when did she come out with this? Whenever she came out with it, from then on, this has been my hands down favorite palette, okay? And I use it. You know, some people are just like, oh yeah, I totally use those things. Nah, child, I for real, I use this palette, okay? I think 6 out of the 10 pans have some pan. 6 out of the 10 shades have some pan in them. So we've got one here. There's a little bit here that you can barely, oh, there, can you see that? There it is. You just gotta look hard. Here, these two, this one, this one. The ones that are probably the furthest away from pan are these two. I don't know if I'll get there, but this palette is my favorite. It's just my favorite, like, everyday palette. As I've always said, this palette is not for everyone because it's just not. I mean, I think if you're really into makeup artist, like, this is going to be like a fun palette for you with the different textures, and the shades are just so versatile. Like, I think it can work on a lot of skin tones, and I think it's just the easiest thing to use for a, like, classic, just nude kind of look. I love to pair the look with a red lipstick and go about my business and call it a day. This is so easy on those very frequent days when I should have gotten ready like 30 minutes before the time I started to get ready. I can just pull this out and do a really quick look, put on a red lipstick, and I feel like I just look sleek and professional, right? This, I love this one. I like the Blooming Romance. Blooming Romance can't do, it has nothing, it can't even compare to this one. I'm sorry. You know I love me some Danessa. But this is, I think, probably the thing I love most in her entire brand. And I have a lot. I really like everything. No. I'm lying. I don't like everything. I like everything that I have from her. So this is number 1 and number 2, okay? All, again, for, I think they were all for work. Maybe I was going somewhere in one of them. But this is my tried and true. If I'm like, oh, I don't know what eyeshadow I want to wear, go with this. All right. So that is it for everything I used on my eyes last week. Let me know what you used this week, or if there was a favorite palette or look that you did. Don't know what I'm gonna use this coming week. I'm sure my homegirl is gonna be in there somewhere, I think. And yeah, Pat McGrath made a couple of slot, so maybe I'll think of another brand and try to have several of those palettes in there. We'll see. Anyway, I hope that some of this was helpful, and I also hope that you are continuing to take care of yourself. I would love it if you liked the video, and I would love it even more if you subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.